You know what? Tszyu starting to grow on me. Pause.
Push the weight in our flex. Flex the live is one in the six. With the runner boy, you nigga, no question. You will run a motherfucker high stepping. Hey, you never had a big enough weapon. Motherfucker never learned your lesson. I'm an 88 pack nigga. I'm an 88 pack nigga. I mean, day walker, drink blood, fangs out, full moon, motherfucker change like a hoe, nigga. I'm just a nigga from the hood trying to stack a little cheddar for the money.
Drew Titan Bronx on deck. Shout out to the mighty LDBC. I'm just reading this article. I'll put the link in the description. Some boxing scene. Tszyu said something real. In this article from Boxing Scene, and I'm going to quote the article. All right. He says, I feel like fighters these days in this modern era, they're just a bunch of pussycats. Let's say pussycats. You know what? I agree. I mean, y'all hear me say all the time, I'm just a guy who loves boxing and the sport does not love me back. I swear, every decade or so, it's gotten progressively worse. And we are surrounded by a bunch of talent, excuse me, a bunch of talent in various divisions. And once you get 2 or 3 or 4 talented people in divisions, you would think those fights would be next. But the business prohibits the fights from happening. And what does happen? The fights online, you know, the threats, and people can't have a conversation without, threats of violence. It just gets very, very juvenile. And it's turned me off it's turned me off from the sport. The sport moves a certain way. The way the fighters behave. I understand, for years, boxing can be a thankless sport. You can have a superior talent, but then when he walks away from the sport, he has 13 cents in his bank account. So we know about those days. And now fighters are in a better position. A lot of them are very, very careful about how they move business-wise. I understand that. A lot of them that are not business savvy, they're very cautious and they're trying to learn. They're trying to build the plane as they fly. I understand that. The trade-off is, as a consumer, I suffer. And some of these things are a no-brainer. Some of it is. And you have fighters just, jockeying for a position as far as being the next internet star. And that's as far as their talent goes. A lot of these guys, they fight what we used to call gimme fights. And because they have such an unconditional fan base, they don't hold the fighters accountable to the level of competition. They just enjoy seeing them having highlight reel knockouts, and therefore we don't get the best fighting the best. I'm not cut from that cloth. I understand having a warm-up fight. If the person that's in your division is not ready or the business isn't right, you have 2 fights in between to stay warm. I get things like that. But some of these guys are glorified marketing scheme. And I'm not gonna say any names, but there are fighters in the industry that understand exactly what I'm talking about. And as it stands so far, Tszyu is one of the people who I thought were one of those guys. But as it stands right now, he's coming into his own, and he's emerged from his father's shadow, if he was ever in it. And he's saying things that is, in my opinion, are true. And, I'm not going to put all my eggs in this guy's basket because, these guys, they're hot one day and they're cold the next. I'm going to give him credit for what he says in this article because I agree with it. Now, what he does moving forward, is to be determined. He says, again, I look and aspire to be like the throwback fighters. Uh, you know, I feel like fighters these days in this modern era are a bunch of pussycats. It's just my opinion in my horrible Australian accent. But I agree with you, Tim. I agree with you, Tim. Tim knows what's going on. And listen, wasn't he scheduled to fight Jamel Charlo? Right? And Jamel Charlo had an injury or something to that effect and then popped back up and fought Canelo Alvarez. Coincidence. Whatever. He ended up fighting Tony Harrison. You saw how that worked out. I gave Tony Harrison a chance in that fight, but he didn't give himself a chance in that fight. I don't know what was going on with Tony. I mean, punch resistance was gone, and Tim went in there and did what he had to do. All right? Then he fought Carlos Ocampo. I thought that would be a pretty good fight. I thought Ocampo stood a chance. And he did what he had to do. You know? He outpointed Brian Mendoza. You know what I mean? So now he got Keith Thurman. And how that's going to play out, I don't know. Thurman's coming up to 154. You know, Thurman's talking a good game, but is he used goods at this point? We're going to have to see. You know, Tim goes on to say, the old throwback, when I grew up watching boxing in the 2000s, everyone just fought the best. That's why I am. At the end of the day, who cares? That's why for me, it was just, I want to fight, and I want to fight big names. And Thurman was a big name. And he's the man I'm after right now, in my horrible Australian accent. But listen, man. He says down here, I haven't made it. That making begins when I beat Thurman. So he understands where he is so far. He understands where he is in his career. He understands Keith Thurman's a name. He mentioned the early 2000s. So he's a student of the game. He understands the game. I'm sure his father put him up on game. But there's something I want to point out in this picture right here. First of all, he looks just like his dad. That's creepy. It's creepy how much he looks like his father. It's very creepy. But look, man, so far, he's not pimping his dad's name. It's not a joke. You know, I'm not trying to drag Julio Cesar Chavez Jr., but y'all already know what I mean when I mention that guy's name. He's not his father at all. And Tim, it doesn't seem like he's trying to be his dad. He's trying to be his own man. Well, he's not trying. He is shaping up to be his own man, and he's out here looking for the smoke. And if Keith Thurman is the best he can do right now, then he's taking it. He understands he's a name, but he tried to fight Jamel. And we were clowning at first. I said, man, what do you call him? Tim Tszyu? I said, man, I don't think that man's ready because he came over here and got dropped in the first round. I said, oh, man, this kid's not. No. But all these matchups that he had, gimme fights, I don't think so. I think his confidence is through the roof. He moves the needle in Australia. They're getting behind their fighter, and he's saying the right thing so far. This is not a bad thing. But I want you to notice something in this picture? Other than him looking like his dad, you want to know something? Look at the shirt he's wearing, y'all. Finally, Tyson versus Holyfield. You see that shirt? What made him put on that shirt? What made him put on that shirt? I think this young man respects the game of boxing. I think he takes it serious. I think he's looking to make his own way, set his own trail, be his own man. He doesn't want to be considered Costa Tszyu's son. Costa has made his own legacy. He made his own way in boxing, and this young man wants to make his own way. Yeah, I'm Costa Tszyu's son, but I'm Tim Tszyu. I'm just as good, if not better. Yet to be seen. The Charlo fight is still there. This young man has options. You mess around. Canelo's already ducking and dodging. If he sees value in a Tim Tszyu fight in Australia, do not be surprised. So I like what he's saying. In this modern era, these guys are a bunch of pussycats. Look what's going on at 135 right now. Look at guys like Teofimo Lopez. He don't have a mandatory for how many years now? How long? How much longer? How long he's been ducking and dodging Devin Haney? Franchise belts being created, all this weird stuff. Tim Tszyu is saying that he's a throwback fighter. If you're there, he wants to smoke. And I respect it. So far, so good. And these guys flip. Today I'm praising him. The next day he might do something to make me say, come on, bro. You used to be beautiful. But so far, so good, man. Y'all read the article. Link will be in the description. Y'all tell me what y'all think. Bronx on deck.